John Chapman, and I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity from the 49ers and their supporters crew as my buddy, the John and Wayne show, gets his camera to come in. This is awesome. He'll be here in a second. I know a way to figure it out. Oh, we got Nick Clark in the chat. So let me just kind of walk you through what is on the agenda for today. First off, thank you so much for all of the support. Nick Clark and Amber Wyatt for bringing this show together, which is awesome. But we're going to be going through a little bit of our story, John and Wayne show. Wayne Breezy's going to be joining us as soon as he gets things worked out. We're going to be going through one of the best games or victories in recent memory with the 49ers shutting out the Saints, which was huge. And then the NFC West outlook and your questions, as always. What is up, the man, Wayne Breezy, my partner in crime? How are you?
How is it that the camera all of a sudden just switched to my graphics card to play video games?
Hey,
like,
man.
We were just here. Like, we were just talking. I don't get it. I don't know why the camera devils want to do something like that to your boy Breezy, but that's what happened.
Dude, I could say this. We're here, and I'm excited because, man, already in the chat, we've got greatness. Diego.
What's good,
Diego?
Joined
us in Mexico. Wayne and I went down to Mexico City. We partied with the faithful, and Diego was incredible. Amazing. Photographer, brought together so much content. It was awesome. So, Wayne, what I want to do is start out with a little bit of our backstory before we dive into all the 49ers content and try to help people understand our story, because I think it's something that the faithful can bring together. Now, Wayne and I both full-time educators that came together, and we have launched into this abyss that is content creation, and all with the purpose of helping the faithful. But Wayne was a teacher for how long, Wayne?
16 years.
He got me by one. I was a teacher and coach for 15 years.
Ooh.
And, COVID changed a lot of things.
It did. It truly did.
Wanted to try to find a new way to give back to the community. My boys are in high school, and so I wanted to spend more time at home, and that's where this came from. But I got to give a shout out to the man, the most positive person that I have met through this whole ordeal. This is my 7th year covering the 49ers with the 49ers Rush podcast. Wayne Breezy, man, talk to us a little bit kind of about what your goals are and what brought you to the 49ers fandom.
I truly appreciate you, and it was really great last year, you and I just like making this connection, and it was like an innate connection. It was like something that we've had going before we even knew we were going to do this, right? But yeah, this is my going into my 3rd year, really going into my 2nd year, kind of like being on my own. But I got started with nothing but Niners, and I still rock with those guys, Mike, Nick, Tony, all the guys over there. NY to the Bay, the other Mike was the guy that brought me in. It's like, Breezy, yo, I love your energy. I love your takes on Twitter, man. And would love for you to come and join the crew. And I was skeptical because I was writing at the time for a Facebook group called the League of the 49ers. And this was during the Colin Kaepernick stuff. And he knelt, and I was like, well, I understand where he's coming from. Next thing you know, I get kicked out of the group. I was kind of scarred, bro. I didn't know if I loved the 49er, like the team, but I didn't know if I loved the community anymore. I was scarred. Like, I didn't know, but luckily, NY to the Bay came through. He's like, listen, man, love your takes. Come through, man. Come right for us. And that was that was the birth of Wayne Breezy. Like, that's when Wayne Breezy was birthed, right there. And at that moment, and ever since then, man, I just been trying to grow rapidly, grow in the 49ers community. I love the community. Let me just say this, the 49ers have the best community out there. Whether we get along, whether we don't get along, either way, at the end of the day, we're all faithful. And I think we know that. And that's the one thing that I love about this community. So shout out to the community.
And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, is that, we're the faithful. And that's something that I think you and I take great pride in. And the 49ers are spoiled in the fact that we have so many podcasts, YouTube channels, content creator, whatever it is you want, your flavor, you're going to find it. And there's no wrong choices there. But one of the things that I think stands the 49ers apart, and again, shout out to Nick Clark and Amber and all the invasion stuff that they do, is they bring people together physically and digitally once a week with shows like this, which this is our second time being on here. We were separate, now we're together, and it just feels right because John and Wayne, we record every single week together, at least once, usually twice.
Twice.
And we go to all the road games together, partnering kind of alongside of the invasion events. We go and we support those, which is awesome, what Nick does. But we also throw parties and tailgates after their parties are over as well, just trying to provide as many opportunities for the faithful to get together. That's what's up. Like we're throwing a party this week in Santa Clara with John Taylor and Eric Wright, which is going to be awesome. We got a tailgate set up in the blue lot, and we do 49ers rushroadtrip.com if you want to check those things out. We party all over the place because we just want to bring people together. Now, having said all those things, Wayne, how did your 49ers fandom get started? Because this is what I'm about. How did Wayne pick the 49ers, being all the way on the East Coast? Tell us how it started.
There was a game on TV. It was the 49ers versus the Cowboys, and it had to be somewhere in the early 80s because my mama, love my mom, but she's a Cowboy fan. And so I'm like, those aren't the colors that I like, Ma. I like this red and I like those colors. You know what I'm saying? And so she was like, okay, you could be that. So this had to be like 84, 85 to where I really didn't understand what was going on. I was just following colors. And then we were winning Super Bowls, and kind of in the late 80s, that's when I was like, this is my team. This is the team I'm going to represent for the rest of my life. And then, we won a couple of Super Bowls toward the late 80s, and then we got the one in 94. And I just been with them since the 80s, man. I'm an 80s baby. So I've been with the Niners since the 80s. But shout out to my mom, who was a Cowboy fan, and I didn't want to be a Cowboy fan. I didn't want to be like my mom. I wanted to be different. Sorry, I'm a renegade. Call me what you want to call me. Love my mother to death, but not when it's football season. We don't like each other. We don't get along.
Baby Chapman, growing up in Dallas-Fort Worth, has a very similar story as well. I had a stepdad that I just argued with nonstop, and mine was a little bit later. Now, also, I do want to tease this. You brought up 1984. We're going to talk about those Niners later on this episode, so I'm just going to log that one away. We're going back to greatness, baby. But I had a stepdad I fought with all the time. We did not get along. He was a diehard Cowboys fan, and so whenever I turned 10, I asked for one thing for Christmas as we're approaching the holiday season, and that one thing was a Jerry Rice jersey. That's it, man. That's it. And so I still have that jersey today. It's hanging on my wall in my office over here. It is the birthing of this fandom. And it's something I do not take lightly at all. Yes, my career is here, but it's more importantly than that. It's an identity.
I have to ask you, what brand is that jersey? Is it Starter?
It's the cheap one. He did not give me a nice jersey. it's the one with like the holes in it, and you can tell it's aged.
Yeah.
That's mesh one.
That's what I'm asking.
I'm going to show you. We're doing this. We're going live.
Yes, let's
right
go.
There. That is my foundation.
That looks pretty cool, though.
It's
that could have been the J.C. Penney's before they got like hip to NFL. Because remember, I remember 1993. Like, I remember the big
black outline.
Yes. And remember the J.C. Penney's catalog? And in there, you could only get an NFL jersey. They only had one type of jersey, and it was the $399 jersey. My mom wouldn't get it for me, so I had to go to the flea market. But anyway, the point is, I had 49ers jerseys. I just wanted to know which one you had, bro. I never knew this story.
That was my first one. But my continuing fandom as, growing up in Texas, playing football, coaching football, that's kind of my background as a football coach. Linebackers was what I played in high school, in college, and that's what I kind of like every linebacker I got. And so my next jersey that is on the list is Dre Greenlaw, who's currently my favorite 49er. I absolutely love his story, love what he brings on and off the field, and crushed it recently. So before we jump in, because we got to talk about the 49ers crushing the Saints, which is we're going to be limited on time. It's going to struggle because we got so much to talk about here, Wade. But before we do that, where can everybody find your content and your shows? Where can they come to support you and engage with your community?
I appreciate that, John. So listen, YouTube is what we're growing. We had to rebrand, regrow it. Unfortunately, you guys know what happened. But the new channel at The Wayne Breezy, you no longer even need a URL anymore. You can just put the @ symbol now with YouTube. It's a handle at The the Wayne Breezy. You can find the same thing on Twitch as well, and Twitter is Wayne Breezy. So just type in Wayne Breezy and make sure it's my picture
That's
with
what
my
I do.
face.
That's how I find you.
Make sure it's this face though. If you don't see anything, make sure it's this face, and then bam, that's it.
There we go. And for my content, 49ers Rush. Anywhere, YouTube's probably the best place. But if you're wanting to come party in an event, and, you know, my thing was my wife works weekends and kids had stuff going on, so it was hard to travel with the family. So a lot of times when I went to games, I would go by myself. And so that's where the kind of 49ers Rush road trip came about, where it's like, look, if you're going by yourself, you're not anymore, because we're going to be there. We're going to be with you. We're going to party before the game, after the game, a lot of times the night before, and it's just grown. And as I look at this chat and I see Anthony Cruz, Coach Cruz himself,
Coach Cruz in the
one of the
building.
best human beings ever. Somebody that we have met and party. He was with us at the draft last year.
Yes,
when
he
we had
was.
Fred Warner and Elijah Mitchell come out, and he brought his whole family out. Actually brought his son AJ. Shout out to the little man AJ for his birthday, which was so cool. All our events are always family friendly as well. That is very important, because you got to bring up those new fans.
Got to raise them right. Got to, you know, got to train them right. You know what I'm saying? So you would never understand. Listen, this morning, right? My son said, Dad, because every morning for an hour, I do some type of activity with my son, whether it's a board game, a puzzle, arts and crafts. He said, Dad, can we go down into the office? I said, the office? He's like, yeah, you know, where you get on the computer and you do your
lab.
work. The lab.
Woo.
I said, sure, we can go down there. I had my son watching offensive film today, bro. He said, Dad, why is there no sound? I said, they don't give us sound when we watch the all 22, son. You just got to sit there and watch. I said, you see this guy right here? This is what happened. This is why this didn't work, because this guy did this thing. And this is why this play worked, because he was literally sitting down before school doing X's and O's, bro. Can I give my son a round of applause? Let me see if this works.
I love, we can't hear it, so I didn't
dang.
I didn't hear it.
All right.
I felt it. And I'll say this. I've been talking with, you meet all these people at these games, which is probably my favorite thing about this job. And kids nowadays, they have so much access. When we were kids, okay, and I hate that we're taking this down nostalgia lane nonstop.
Sorry, guys.
You had to watch Sports Center for an hour and a half for 2 minutes, maybe, on the 49ers. And that 2 minutes was the most exciting. There was no rewind. You had to go through commercials. You had to go through softball. You had to go through all these different things. And then after you watched it, you were so amped up, you would wait to watch it again on the next replay. And that was our childhood.
That was our childhood.
Now, kids can watch film and turn on whatever, and all of those things are available. And I'm so thankful, because, we're going to be outdated very, very soon. And I'm thankful for that, because there's going to be a much more knowledgeable fan base coming forward. Now, let's transition, Wayne. Talking about knowledgeable fan base. 49ers just shut out the Saints. First time the Saints were shut out in over 20 years.
2002. All
about that defense, baby.
From the 49ers.
It was unreal. What's up? We got Eric. Shout out to Eric in the chat.
What's going
Love
on,
it, man. He's a great dude. He runs our Instagram channel, the 49ers Rush page, and just one of the most knowledgeable and kind fans that I've ever come across. Shout out to him and his wife. Great people. Now, let's talk about the Saints defense, or the 49ers defense versus the Saints. What was it that stood out to you? How in the world, if you had to pick one or two things that the 49ers were able to keep them, put up a donut on the scoreboard. You watched the film all day today.
All day.
What are one or two of the biggest reasons why the 49ers had so much success defensively against the Saints?
Well, here go my two things, and people probably aren't going to be like, that's what you were thinking? Number one was energy. First play of the game, Azeez Al-Shaair. It was a 7-yard gain, but man, he cracked the mess out of whoever caught that thing. I don't know who caught it. Taysom Hill. I think it was Taysom Hill. They gave the tackle to Charvarius, Mooney Ward. But listen, Al-Shaair hit him. I knew right from that. When Taysom Hill got up, he patted my man on the chest, yo. I was like, yeah, it's going to be a long day. I knew the energy right off the start wasn't going to skip a beat. I would say energy and I would say communication, because the 49ers did very well in communicating. So even when a play broke down, you had the remainder of the people picking up slack. And that's what kind of helped force some of those turnovers that we saw. So I know people won't say communication. Yeah, they got to go out there and communicate. Fred Warner was the communicator. He was making sure everybody was lined up in their spots. Everybody was getting to the ball. There was times he was getting to the ball if somebody else missed the ball. Like, they were definitely out there doing exactly what they needed to do. And you know what? They asked him, did you guys really, were you guys really trying to pitch a shutout? Were you trying to not, it was like, yeah, we sure enough was like that.
Drake Greenlaw, baby.
Yeah, Drake Greenlaw. We absolutely were. We knew and those are the goals and aspirations that you want from people on this particular team, right? You want them to go out there and feel like they can go out there and bang somebody in the head. Sorry, family show. Football style. You know what I mean? Shut somebody out. I thought it was perfect. Thought the energy was on 100. I thought the communication was on 100. And that, my friend, is how they were able to get the shutout.
I think staying on your communication topic, I'm with you. And when you watch the silent film, you see two players that are the most animated: Fred Warner, number one, and Talanoa Hufanga on the back end. I mean, they're literally screaming at everybody.
Oh my gosh, what play was it? There was a play. I want to say, was it the fumble? I don't know, but it was on Alvin Kamara. But here was the thing. It was Talanoa Hufanga who got into the backfield first that made him change up the way he was going to run. So I think this was a fumble, if I'm not mistaken. Might have been the Fred Warner one at the very beginning. And I was like, dag, like Hufanga, when he plays his style of football, man, that's a dangerous guy, man. Shout out to the T, man.
And I think we're seeing a little bit more familiarity with the defense. You got to remember, Hufanga, this is his second year. And he started, a handful of games last season, which was awesome, but he's starting to come into his own, because you go throughout the entire training camp and offseason, he's back there working with Jimmy Ward. Well, now you've got Tayshaun Gibson. It's a different feel, but it's a good feel. And you have Talanoa, who continues. What is it that he brings to the table? Leadership, and explosive plays.
Energy.
And so back-to-back weeks, you have seen Talanoa go with that off-the-edge time-up blitz, which he's already among the league's best at timing up the snap and all, just the feel, the instincts for the game. And so I'm hoping we're going to keep seeing that, because even though he gets in there so stinking fast that sometimes he beats the mesh point where the quarterback's handing it off to the running back or whatever else, it doesn't matter, because the play is completely disrupted. As you said, that fourth play defensively, they got the first down, the Saints, on the opening drive. The next play, that very first down play after they got it, Hufanga blitzes off the edge, messes everything up. Didn't make the tackle, but he made the play. And then you got Fred Warner screaming over the top, punches the ball out. And that set the tone. You set the tone. And the defense it was a machine after that. You talked about communication. You talked about execution. I felt like they were on point. I really, really did. So that's one. Communication's key. Give me one more reason or player why this 49ers defense stood out and shut out the Saints the way they did. Again, first time in 20 years. By the way, last team that shut out the Saints, and it was the 49ers again.
49ers, 2002, then
division rivals, old school. Yeah. We don't forget.
I was trying to tell people that's why I thought this game was going to be a little bit more tough than what it was. But it's a simple fact that it's just a historical type of a game. They used to be in the NFC West, right? And the Saints always find a way to play the 49ers well. Doesn't matter. And I will give the Saints some credit. Their defense was, if the 49ers defense was number one, their defense looked like it was number two, right? Because they were attacking as well. But back to our defense, man, Fred Warner was probably the key player, like the best player on defense in that game. And it's hard to really say, like pick another player, because they all, to me, played equally their part, right? They all equally played their part. You could just see that Fred Warner was stepping out. But I got to go with the closer, man. And look, the closer is Nick Bosa. And if you guys don't understand why, it's because, listen, dude plays the majority of the snaps in the game. And then it's like he's getting held on every single play. He gets a crazy roughing the passer call. I didn't understand it. The dude's running with the whatever. And then he closes out the game. Final play on defense, 4th and 4, was a sack. Took them off the field, gave the Niners the ball back, and Kyle Shanahan had the best 6-minute drive I've ever seen in my life. Shout out to Jordan Mason.
Shout out to Jordan Mason. I love it. You talked about closing. Now, let me just say this. Depending on where you're watching this show, one, I just want to say thank you for the continued support. We are going to toggle off of our channels, and we're going to be live exclusively on the 49ers supporters channel. So let me tell you this right now. If you haven't yet, you got to go join. It's absolutely unreal. If you just look at like John and Wayne show is great. Don't get me wrong. The all-star lineup that they have put together of these content creators, and you go back and watch them as soon as you sign up. It's unbelievable.
It's
Teams
unbelievable.
don't do this. Again, we're spoiled. So head over to 49ers.com, click on the supporters page. And if you want to join, they give you all kinds of free stuff. We did an unboxing last time. You get $25 off your first year's membership if you use the promo code live_NOV29, right? November 29, live_NOV29. So we're going to take the show over there. Hope you come with us. We're going to get Q&A, NFC West outlook, moving forward what the 49ers have. So come join us over there, not only for us, but all the other content creators as well. So thank you guys for the support. We're going to jump over there exclusively now. All right. Here we go, Wayne.